Hi! Hi, friends. I am here today with you. I'm so grateful you're here with me. It blesses me so much to have your presence. It would be especially nice if I could see your face, but I can't. So anyway, but I do feel like we're all in this together when I get a chance to do this. And I see either your comments or likes on one of my social media or just the views on the YouTube. So it helps me know that we really are walking together. Okay. I hope you're not going to feel just a lot of feel sorry for me today. And I hope it doesn't just sound like it's going to be some wallowing and self-pity. Okay. I have to watch my time because I have to leave in a bit. Okay, so watch that. And okay, so on my last video, we talked about like you and me, because this is interactive. You are hearing and God is with you and He is doing something in the speaking and the listening and the contemplation we're doing together. So we were talking and thinking about where's God in the face of evil. And it can also be where's God in the face of things that feel like accidents or something like that. Or an unforeseen harm. So I mentioned that I had gotten some purpling and lack of circulation is the obvious thing. My dog. And pain in my fingertips, and how that had really thrown me for a loop. Wondering, where the heck did this come from? What is this? So, I think I'm gonna have to go get the dog because I can't do this. Dog on it. Okay, gosh. All right. Where was I? Okay, so anyway, August 1st, I woke up one day and went, well, that can't be good for this finger. Why is it blue? Why is it purpley? And here I am, 2.5 months later, and I'm still dealing with this. So these are not that I have cuts or anything. They're little pads with some tape that help me not hurt when I do stuff. I'm going to try to be properly dramatic, because it's terrible. But I'm gonna try not to wallow. So anyway, so I've been through, lots of things with oncologist first, next rheumatologist to see if I have an autoimmune disorder, which I'm very grateful I don't, because anyway, some people get something like this in their 20s and 30s, and then if you get it later, it's usually an autoimmune thing. So I'm glad I don't have that, but it leaves the doctor in a mystery. So he has sent me on to a vascular doctor, and I see him on Thursday, and all this has taken 2.5 months. And then I have an appointment with another doctor on November 3rd. So that's 2 more weeks after Thursday. And that is with a doctor to pursue the potential that this is a long COVID thing. I had COVID this summer, late June, early July, and this showed up a few weeks later. So, my dear brother-in-law, who is a doctor, actually have two brothers-in-laws who are doctors and who have been trying to help me think through this. But one of them happened to run across a doctor doing some research. And anyway, that's the doctor that I'll be seeing in early November. Is this how I wanted to be spending my life? It's a part-time job trying to pursue figuring this out. But even worse than that is the daily struggle to get through my normal days. But worse than that is the fear that this is my new life. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you. I feel like I'm living in a bit of a nightmare. Like I think I just keep my head down and I keep, okay, it's okay. You can do this. You can get dressed and ouch, it's okay. Ow, ow, ow. Okay. You know, let's redo your finger pads. Okay. This is a pain. Cut, measure, cut. And then, you know, I can't get my fingers wet when they're like this because it ruins the pads. And also when I have the pads on, I can't feel to know what I'm doing. So anyway, it's difficult. So some of the treatment that the rheumatologist gave me made my whole body have problems. And that has been super depressing. So I have swelling in my hands before I started this bad medicine, the one that gave me troubles. My body didn't react well to it. It made my hands very tender on the palms, my feet very tender and bruised-like on the soles of my feet, big old swollen feet and ankles and legs and knees, and a very odd, very tender here. So I'm trying to get in bed backwards, and I've got my palms laying on my elbows. Okay, back up on the palms. Okay, sit up. You know, let's figure out how to get into bed. I can hardly do yoga anymore, which was my health. My body feels healthy when I do it. I can't get down on the ground. I've always been a very agile person, and it's part of my identity, and it's part of my joy. Well, my friend said, it seems that this is an attack directed straight at your joy. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for seeing that. Because in July, I was getting my groove really going with writing. I wrote a short story for the first time, and then bam, I can't use my laptop. So after 2.5 months, I feel like I'm adapting. I am doing a lot more with my pen and using Siri, you know, voicing things in notes and then copy pasting. But I can't really create a short story that way, or, you know, a story about my life that way. I haven't figured that out yet. And same thing with the pen. It hurts my muscles. So I've got this thing where I can't really, and that's how my knees are too. I'm sure because they're swollen. Maybe that's what this is too. And my ankles too. So not only the writing thing, the attack on the joy, but let me show you. This is show and tell. In July, I bought myself some joy shoes. Look at this. It's a jazz shoe. So it's soft and supple and it's leather. So your foot's real comfy in there, but it gives it a little tiny lift in the heel. And you can point your foot and it makes this gorgeous point. It's like, And then I also, these are mainly for like dancing around the house. So dancing is a great source of joy to me. And so I'll like put on music and kind of clean, and also kick and kick and do sachet and 1, 2, 3. And so I finally bought my jazz shoes, because the other shoes are like clunky and don't really get you able to go. And so anyway, at this very same time, I bought these shoes. Look at these, look at that, isn't that cute? I actually was on a dance team in college, and we wore this exact shoe, Capezio, and I couldn't believe they still had them. And so I knew I loved this shoe for dancing. Like, we would dance hard, and a heel actually helps your body balance better. So I thought I might wear those around the house sometimes, but if Craig and I ever go to a wedding where we get to dance, I'm gonna wear these. Hopefully nude color shoes don't go out of style. So I was so excited. And third thing, I should have brought those shoes too. I didn't buy these, but I have ballet shoes, and I was like kind of scared and like, oh, am I really gonna do this? But I have dreamed for, I don't know, 15 years. I've looked for an adult ballet class. I love the feeling of stretching my body and finding beautiful forms. I always have. I loved gymnastics as a kid because of the beauty part of it. I'm not a risk taker, so it didn't feel like that. And so we moved to a new city. And so I found from a friend that there was a place that did an adult class. And so I called them because it was August, and it was going to be, just getting started with a class. And I was so excited. And I was in touch with the lady, and she said, oh, well, we didn't have enough adults this year. And so what we're doing is we're putting the adults who are interested in ballet into the children's classes. I was like reading this in email, like, what? No. And so I emailed her back and said, well, I don't know, maybe will I be with 5-year-olds? And I just couldn't imagine me and 3 to 5-year-olds. And she said, no, not 5-year-olds, probably 8 to 10. And so it took me a few weeks. It wasn't going to start until after Labor Day, and I thought, I got to think about this. Can I really do this? I'm going to humiliate myself. And I also thought, oh my gosh, this could be one of the most delightful things in my life. And so I tried to get a friend or two to join me. I told them so I wouldn't be the lone giraffe in the class. That's how I pictured it. Oh, hi. And so it didn't work out. I had a couple people interested, but the night didn't work. They were going to do it with me. Anyway, so I decided I am going to do this, and I picked out what I would wear. She said just something comfortable. And the night I was all set. I had talked to one little girl in our church is going to be in the class, and she gave me a pep talk on Sunday. And so on Monday night, I was preparing for, it was going to be on Tuesday. And I looked down, and I was like, I think Craig and I were maybe talking on the phone to somebody, so my brain was half engaged. And I looked down, and my brain thought, whose legs are those? And I kind of thought, like, oh, they look very womanly. And anyway, when we got off the phone, I looked, and it was my legs, and they were very plump. And I've never liked my skinny ankles and skinny calves, and So that's why I was like, wow, whose womanly legs are those? So, and it just like got worse every hour, and I couldn't point my foot. Couldn't hurt to stand on my feet. They were uncomfortable, just discomfort. And my knees wouldn't really bend well. And I was like, well, there's no going to ballet. So not only did I lose writing in this period, I lost ballet. And that was the medicine that the doctor had put me on. I'd been on it about 4 days, and that's when the swelling showed up. And in all these extra parts of my body, aching and stiff. And it just evolved to where I couldn't even do yoga because I can't get on my hands and my feet, like even to do a downward dog, for those of you who do yoga. I can't get down on the ground. It hurts to try to get up. And so anyway, I'm just not believing this. Where I get the most depressed is, am I trapped in this body now? I just can't. Oh my God, because it's gone on for so long that it doesn't seem like there's a solution. So I had this one solution that a couple of COVID doctors in the world are looking at. The potential of microclots causing a lot of the issues in long COVID. And obviously mine is a blood issue. So, but I started taking two of the three things, and nothing has changed. And so I'm really starting to get a little bit depressed about the situation. Okay, so I must leave in a few minutes. So let me turn this. This has been a real trial. I mean, just a trial. Every day, I try to get through the day with all of these physical problems and pains. And so so here's what I'm thinking. From the beginning, I was really talking to God, of course. Like, what else am I going to do? Where else are we to go, Lord? You alone have the words of eternal life. You have the words of peace, of truth that makes sense of things. You alone are good. You have to explain to me, though. You don't have to. No, you might choose not to, Lord, to explain to me what is good about this. But if you would, show me, because I believe, since I studied Joseph like years ago in Bible study fellowship, I was in my 20s, and does it say this exactly? I meant to look it up, but somebody in the story of Joseph said, Satan meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And I have lived by that. It is the most profound, deep, and wide truth that bad is going to happen, possibly from this dark force, possibly from the nature of the fallen world we live in. But God will mean it for good. God will mean it for good. He might, I don't, yeah, okay. Okay, so I have he has come close to me, and I have been so grateful for that, because what would I do if I didn't have his presence too? That does happen in dark trials, and it's called the dark night of the soul, when you can't even find God. I'm not in a dark night of the soul. I am facing a fearful future. I'm fearing a potential difficult future, I should say. And I am grieving, but I'm trying to withhold the grief. I'm grieving for today. Like today, gosh, I can't be free of this body I'm in right now. Can it be released from this stuff? But let me see here. Oh, my fingers. So one thing that has been, it kind of goes with the where's God in the face of evil thing, and like saying, you know, I'm realizing I have always hoped for happily ever after. Like, I'm like, okay, I can make it through something bad because I do believe in happily ever after. But the problem, because I think that is who God is. He wants good. He wants life. He is a God of light and not darkness. He's a God of wholeness and not brokenness. He is a God of, what else, y'all? Joy. And he is a God of sorrow because of this world that we are living in that is groaning. But he is the author of joy. So I realize, I mean, I grew up on Cinderella, the Rodgers and Hammerstein. Did you grow up on that? I was a Cinderella. And that prince was my savior. And he gave me a happily ever after life. And that is what I put on Craig for the first years of our marriage. I am a romantic at heart. So it was a growth thing for me. And but I realized, like, after I had cancer, I moved into this sort of happily ever after once I got through the fatigue. It's not like everything's good. Still anxious, still have shame issues, still scared of cancer coming back. But I had this new, just this new wholeness and this new sense of adventure with writing and stuff like that. And it felt like a happily ever after. And then we've had so many things come upon us. We had the big transition, which they say is a huge thing for a family. Craig and I did. And then Craig's dad died. And then 18 months later, his mom died. And then some of our family has gone through just intense heartache. And but I still want happily ever after. And so I don't know what has carried me is I go into that internal place that is a haven with God. Like, we all have that with God when we become his in Christ. This castle, as I think Teresa Avila, maybe? Yes. Talks about this castle inside you where you and God meet, and has all these rooms. Maybe God's introducing me to a new room. But when I can go internal into that place with him, even though I have to face going to try to get my breakfast with these painful fingers and then trying to get my clothes on, if I can access his love and his presence, it's going to be okay. In our Bible study, our leader had us memorize a psalm, and so I've been able to just go over and over that psalm. My God, you are my God. I mean, that's how it starts. And so sometimes I just sit right there. My God, you are my God. God, you are my God. And like just with him saying that. And go look at Psalm 63, the first 8 verses. They're just incredible. So what should I say? I love you. I'm so grateful to be sharing this life with you. And you all are my heroes and teach me and, yeah, encourage me. It's good to be with you. Share, subscribe, all that stuff. Bye.